Now, guys, today, actually, there is only one concept left in the course curriculum. But yesterday, I have explained about the ARM templates and Azure CLI, which was not earlier there in the course curriculum. In the same way, today also, I want to explain one more thing called Docker. I just want you to explain that what is its concept. And if time permits, I will explain something about Kubernetes also. Then tomorrow, with that last concept, apply Azure AD conversion. That with that we will close the course. But today, guys, it's a very, very important class. What is Docker? Docker is the most important class here, most important topic. And nowadays, a lot of companies are using.
Yeah, Venkat, one request from my side. Can you just give me one classes for Docker and Kubernetes so that we have some ideas about that, because it is the very much important.
Yeah, but our course is not for this, guys. Actually, there is another course where they are paying 25,000 to learn this. So
Yeah,
I know. That is the reason I can't. This is also just I want you to. I just want you all to know what is it. So, guys, later, actually, guys, if you want to learn more in-depth knowledge of these classes, there is another batch which is going to be started on 28th, where the fees is like nearly. My guys will tell you the fees, guys. For you also, there is a big discount is also there. That they will tell you that. If you want to learn in-depth, guys, not a crash course. If you want to learn a complete cloud and complete DevOps, everything you want to know in and out, you want to know about Docker, Kubernetes, and everything in detail with a project implementation, then you can join that batch also, guys, if you are interested. Otherwise, guys, with this knowledge also, it is very easy, guys, to score any job. And just if you spend some more time on internet, I'll give some URLs also to you. If you go through those URLs, Kubernetes and Docker URLs, and you can actually crack any job, guys. With this knowledge also, you can crack a job. But if you're not confident that I need some more training in this course, guys, there is a course which has 40 classes. There is another course which has 50 classes. But 40 and 30 classes more than enough for you guys, because you already, know the basics and everything. So I recommend you to take the 40-hour class, where in detailed, in-depth concepts, in-depth knowledge of these concepts will be given, guys. Our fees a little bit higher side, but you will, the team will contact you and will give you a good discount also. And it's up to you, guys. You can actually join the class, or else with this knowledge also, by learning one more week, by spending one more week on YouTube, or I'll give some website, and you can easily crack a very good job. That is up to you. If you are confident, you can get a job with this knowledge. You can easily get a job, guys. No, it's not a big thing. But if you are not confident, if you want to take more knowledge in it, you can actually come and join the class from 20th. So it is up to you. But here I also, guys, I can't completely teach everything, because this is not that course, guys. Earlier only we have given a course curriculum, so I can't go out from that curriculum.
Yeah, understood. Actually, is it based on your one of the project that Docker and Kubernetes classes is based on one of the project? Can you include one of the project in that class as well?
Today we are going to implement one project on Docker. Today class.
Yeah, that will. I think that is enough for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let me continue. Actually, okay. Yeah, good. Now, guys, what is an app service? Can anyone tell me? What are app services?
App services is actually used for just designing the website.
Yeah, to deploy a website.
Yeah.
To deploy, it's a service which is a PaaS, platform as a service.
Yes, like a logic apps, function.
Yeah, those are all. Yeah. Now, guys, if you observe here, when we create any app service, is the runtime has been come with that app service? What is the meaning of runtime? Let me show that to you. 1 minute. If you go here. Let me create one app service. Now, guys, when you click the button create, if you observe here, guys, you will select one resource group. After that, you will give some name. And after that, guys, you are selecting one runtime stack. Is it correct, guys? If it is .NET, you will select .NET. If it is React, you will select Node. So depending upon the programming language which has been used by the programmer, this runtime stack will be chosen. And guys, can you tell me why we need to choose this runtime stack? Can anyone guess?
Yes, it is used for actually that runtime stack is installed on the
Machine
assigned servers for running the
application.
softwares.
Yeah, actually, guys, if you want to run a .NET related application, this app service should contain .NET related runtime. Then only you can deploy this application on that app service. So guys, without providing the runtime stack, no app service or no VM or nothing, and no service can detect the programming language. It will like an alien language for them. So guys, keep in your mind, to run any programming language, we need to provide its runtime also with that programming language. Now guys, because it's a platform as a service, when you're creating an app service, you're actually providing a runtime at the time of creation only. That's yeah, you know that. But guys, if you look at this picture, if it is virtual machine, guys, which is like nothing but an IaaS, infrastructure as a service, where there is no runtime, guys, what will you do? You generally create one VM and you will create a Windows VM or Linux VM. Once you create that VM, what will you do? You will first
install that software.
You need to install the runtime separately. Is it correct, guys? We have done it for one of our projects. You have copied the project into the VM. After that, when you try to run it, it did not run. So then what you have done, you have manually installed the runtime of that programming language, then the application got run. So guys, here the PAS, the application comes with that runtime. Actual OS also. When you select the OS, we will select Linux, Windows OS also. In PAS, guys, everything will come as a package and you can deploy directly any application to the app service. No need to install anything extra. But if it is VM, guys, you have to select the OS. After that, you need to create a VM. After you copy your files, you have to manually install the runtime. Then only your VM can actually host that application. Now, guys, okay, very, very good. Now, guys, let me give one example here. There is a VM. It has, okay, let me open one diagram. Yes, if you observe here, there is one VM. In that VM, you want to install or deploy one React application, guys. In the same VM, you want to install one .NET application. The same VM, you want to install one Angular application. Same VM, you want to install one PHP. You want to install one Java. So on the same VM, you want to install all these applications. You want to host all these applications in a single VM. You know, guys, we have already created 2 sites in IaaS. Do you remember this? In IaaS, we have created 2 sites, a default website 1 and second one is site 1. On default site, we have hosted our .NET project, and site 1 we have hosted our React project. Do you remember, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, in the same way, in one of the VM, I want to host, you know, guys, in one IaaS, you can install 100, 200 websites also. Now, guys, I want to host all these applications on a single VM. And if you do that, what will happen, guys? When you install its, you know, guys, to run this application, we have to install its runtime. .NET will have its own runtime. But guys, React can also run on .NET. So if you install .NET runtime, React will also support that. In the same way, if you install Node.js runtime, that runtime will support React, Vue.js, and Angular. So guys, for each programming language, you will install one runtime in your VM. Sometimes what will happen, when you install more than one runtime in your VM, and guys, there will be different types of versions also on that VM. So the application which you host on the VM may not work properly, or there may be some issues can occur because of different programming languages. Runtimes have been installed on a single VM, and when you try to access those applications, there can be some latency. Latency is nothing but delay in the response, guys. So there can be some, actually there will be a lot of issues when you increase the runtimes on a single VM. So guys, we generally don't prefer to install 10 different runtimes on a single VM, and you want to deploy all the applications on that single VM. It will be actually impossible, but it will be very difficult. If you do that, you may face a lot of issues. Now, guys, to remove this problem, this is the main concern of us, guys. Unable to deploy or maintain a lot of different programming languages, applications in a single VM. It is very difficult to do that. Then what happened, guys? The Docker has come into picture. Docker is very, very simple, guys. You will be having one OS. For example, it can be a VM, it can be anything. It can be a physical server, it can be anything. Or it can be your personal system also, like your laptop also. You know, you will be having, for example, it is a laptop, guys. You already having your OS on your laptop. Now, guys, it may be a Mac OS, or it may be a Linux OS, or it can be a Windows OS. On top of it, guys, if you install, for example, if it is Windows OS, if you install, guys, one Docker engine, here desktop for Docker. If you install the Docker engine in your laptop, guys, once you install it, what can you do, guys? You can actually, now observe here, guys, there is a concept called containers. What are the containers? Now, guys, for a container is nothing but, guys, when you deploy, actually, guys, we deploy our application to the containers in the Docker. So container is nothing but, guys, when you deploy one application, it will create an image. One image will be created in the container, and a runtime will be stored for that particular application. Runtime will also be stored in the container. Now, guys, here observe, this is my container 1. This is my container 2. This is my container 3, and this is my container 4. And guys, containers are very lightweight. Actually, guys, it is very lightweight applications, and one container will never disturb the other container. That means on your single VM, you can deploy as many containers as you want, and each container will have a single application's image along with its runtime. For example, this container 1 will have .NET image along with its runtime. In the same way, guys, the C2 will have React image along with runtime. Image is nothing but the application, guys, the website, for example. The C3 will have Java runtime and its image. In the same way, C4 will have PHP runtime and its image, for example. Runtime and image. If you observe here, guys, on my single system, I'm able to host different applications, and I'm able to create images of those applications in the individual containers. And if you divide your systems into number of containers, or you can, if you install more than one container in a single system, guys, if one application is running on the system, this application will not disturb or will not interfere in any way with other container images. So, guys, when you're running this image, for example, if I'm trying to access one website, which is some .NET sample website.com, when you're running this application, it assumes that the entire machine is running this application. So, guys, it assumes that there is only one container in it and there is no other container. So it happily runs on the system without any interference. In the same way, guys, all my container images can run independently. And because of their lightweight structure and manner, there will be very less latency, and all the users can happily access those applications without having any sort of issues. So that is the reason, guys, nowadays Docker is very popular. Because of this particular Docker, what's happening, we can actually we can actually deploy as many applications as we want in those VMs or in our private or public servers, and we're able to because of their lightweight in nature, all the users without any issues are able to access the websites without any problem. That is one of the major advantage which the Docker is giving to the world. Now, guys, guys, did you understand what is Docker? First, tell me.
Yes, understood.
Yeah.
Venkat, one question in my mind.
Okay.
Actually, if as per my understanding, the Docker using base OS and using the base OS make one a box for each of the services.
Yes.
So if some of the application, if I want to use some of the application, the application uses Linux, then is it usable Docker or not?
Yeah. Now let him good point. Now, guys, Docker has actually created on Linux kernel only. You know what is kernel? Can anyone tell me, guys, what is a kernel? Do you know anything about kernel?
OS run on those kernels.
Yeah, actually OS, it's a OS part. All the Windows OS, it's a Windows OS or Linux OS. OS is a part of your kernel. Actually, kernel is a part of your Linux, of your OS. Now, guys, if you observe here, I have already installed Docker Desktop, guys. Actually, it's a Windows version of Docker. Actually, what can you do? You can create a Linux VM. There you can deploy a Docker in your Linux VM, and you can host all of your applications on Linux OS, and you can host all of these things in a Linux virtual machine. In the same way, guys, if you want to host the Docker, if you want to deploy, or if you want to install a Docker on your Windows system, this is the Windows system, guys. I've already okay. I will answer your question, guys. Just understood. So first, what you do, download Docker for the Docker Desktop. Download this thing, guys. Download Docker Desktop. Then what will it do? It will download Docker for your OS, guys. It can be for Apple, Linux, or your Windows. Now I want to download it for Windows. So let me give this URL in your Slack. No. What is, sorry, this is not the place. Okay, now guys, after you install your Docker, you have to actually, if you observe, guys, if you install that, this image, this icon will be shown, and guys, it should be in running. It should be, you can see Docker Desktop is running, and it will have containers, guys. These are a lot of containers it has on my machine, and it will be having images. And guys, here some of images are Linux VMs images, some of are Windows images, guys. So some application is created to be hosted on my Linux OS, and some applications created to be hosted on my Windows OS. Guys, if you observe here, I'm able to run or host all these images inside my Docker Desktop. Is it possible? Why it is possible, guys? Because let me open control panel. To work with Docker Desktop, guys, you have to install, you have to on certain feature called turn Windows feature on. There is a concept called, guys, Windows subsystem for Linux. You have to tick this. Once you tick this, guys, what will happen? Linux kernel will also be available on Windows, and you can actually run some of these applications which have been created for Linux on your Windows machine, guys. So with the Docker Desktop, you can see, guys, there is a .NET application, there is a React application, there is a Python application. You can see this is a Python application. There is an Angular application. If you observe, guys, in my simple laptop, actually you cannot host any website on a laptop. It will be if you host a normal application without using Docker, it will be like my laptop will be like very slow. But because of the Docker, I have deployed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 20 images I have deployed, guys. 20 to 30 images I have deployed in my single laptop. Are you able to understand, guys? Because if you observe, guys, I'm not installed or downloaded any React or .NET or Python runtime on this machine. Because of this all the containers will have all those runtimes, and all this image is nothing but the application URL, guys. I will create one now, and I'll show you guys. So do you understand, guys, the concept of Docker? Why it is very important? Why the concept of Docker is very important? Do you understand the concept, guys? Docker.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, once you
the same way we can install the Linux machine as well.
Yeah.
And use the softwares for Windows as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Then
So,
Sir,
why it is very much
one question from my side. If we hello,
yeah.
if we host our application in Docker images, it will not expose our code to outside world, sir?
No, not at all. Yeah, when I create that you will understand. Wait for a minute.
Okay.
Now, guys, you know what is a Docker. You have understood the concept of Docker. Very, very good. Now let's do one thing. Actually, guys, Docker is also having here, there is a concept called container registries, guys. It is nothing but, okay, Docker is actually, guys, there is, okay, let me explain. There is a concept called Docker Hub, guys. hub.docker.com. This is a repository, guys, which will have a lot. You can actually host your application or deploy your image to this Docker Hub, and you can push those images here, guys. All the images have been created locally on my Docker machine, on my laptop. These are all locally created images. Now, if I want to push these images, I can push it to Docker. Can be worked with all available cloud platforms, guys. I have installed my Docker on this machine. I have created a lot of images. Once I create it, I will run these images locally. When the image is running locally, it is very good. I'm able to access it now. You can deploy those images to either Azure cloud. You can deploy it to your Azure cloud, or you can deploy the same image to AWS cloud, or you can deploy the same image to GCP cloud. In the same way, guys, you can push these images to Docker Hub also. So there are different platforms which are providing the repositories, which will actually store those images. Repository is nothing but, guys, we know one repository. What is that repository?
Azure Rep.
Azure repo. And what does it contain?
Files.
Our code.
Our code. Yeah, yes. Our code. It will, in the same way, guys, your Docker registry will also have a Docker repository. So you will be having a Docker registry, that is a container registry, and this container registry will have one repository, container repository, and this container repository will have that image. Guys, what is the image? Can anyone tell me what is the image? The actual application, the main code. For example, this is .NET Docker sample.com. The code which is actually running on the website, that the actual code is nothing but your image. And where you store this image? In your repository. And this repository there in your container registry. If you are using Azure, guys, we will always call a container registry. Container registry is nothing but your Docker. If it is AWS, other name will be there. If it is GCP, other name will be there. So, guys, Docker registry is nothing but your container registry. We will be having one. If you observe, guys, this is one registry. I just wanted to create one sample container registry, guys. Let me give one name. Sample container registry. Select one location and just click the button, review and create. Now what I'm doing, guys, I'm creating one Docker container registry inside my cloud. So why I'm doing that? So that I can push my images. I can create or push my images to this container registry. Just wait for a minute. Okay, meanwhile, guys, it will take some time. Meanwhile, let me go. I just want you to, can I explain quickly Kubernetes also, guys? Now you know now what is Docker. You understand.
Yes, please explain, sir.
Just very quickly, I'll explain this. There are a lot of projects also there on that before this. Yeah, you can see this, guys. Actually, these are the steps. Here, guys, what I'm doing, I've already told you once. Here, guys, I'm creating Docker image. Once I create the Docker image, what I'm doing, I'm actually creating or pushing the Docker image to the Docker container. Once I have done it, I am creating another concept, another service called Kubernetes. And guys, with the help of the Kubernetes, I'm able to, okay, guys, first let me, this is the project, guys. It's a Python project. We will do it. Before that, before going into that project, guys, let's do one thing. Let me quickly explain the concept of Kubernetes. Now you know what is Docker. Guys, Kubernetes is nothing but it's a single word. It is Docker or container orchestration tool, guys. If someone asks what is Kubernetes, then you need to say it is a container orchestration tool. Okay, what does that mean? Let me explain. For example, guys, your application, you have one VM, or you are a lot of VMs are there. And each VM has, for example, guys, this is your VM1. If you don't understand this class, guys, don't worry. Review the class, because I'm telling a lot in this class. If you are not able to process it, don't worry. You can actually review this class to understand it. And if you are having any doubt, you can ask at the end of the class. No worry. Now, guys, for example, there are one VM1 is there and VM2 is there, and it has 5 containers and it has some other 6 containers. And guys, in the same way, there are 10 VMs, guys, and each VM is having 10, 20, 30, 40 containers. And each container will have an image and a runtime also. Now, guys, can anyone tell me what is a load balancer? What is the work of a load balancer?
Load balancer used to manage
the traffic.
Yeah, it will manage the traffic, because the same application will be created on more than one VM. So by correctly configuring the load balancer, we are able to redirect the traffic depending on the health of those VMs. Is it correct, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Kubernetes is managing multiple Dockers.
Yes, Kubernetes also.
Yeah.
By using Kubernetes,
Something
what
health is going down, there is some signal.
Yeah. Actually, guys, Kubernetes is simply like a load balancer, not a load balancer, guys. One of the services is a load balancer, guys. What will it do? It will manage all VMs, all containers. There is a concept called Kubernetes cluster. What is the meaning of this cluster? This cluster will have a lot of nodes, guys. Node are worker machines, which is nothing but your VMs. In Kubernetes, guys, we don't use the word VM. We will use a word called node or worker machine. Now, guys, and these nodes can have one or more than one containers, and each container will have images. So, guys, what is the work of this Kubernetes cluster? It will manage 10, 100, 1,000 container images, guys, properly and perfectly. And guys, if there is one application which has been installed on more than one container, the same application is installed on, for example, there are 100 containers in the whole cluster. And for example, in this cluster, guys, we're having 10 nodes. 10 nodes is nothing but 10 VMs. And each VM is having 20 containers. That means totally we are having 200 containers. And guys, there is one VM1. In that VM, container 1 and container 20 are the replicas. That means the same application is stored here and there. So the same application has been stored in, for example, 4 to 5 containers. So what will happen, guys? Because of some issue, if one container goes down because of some problem, then what is the work of this Kubernetes cluster? It will actually reroute the traffic to the second container, which is serving the user request, guys. Did you get my point? So, guys, it is working as a load balancer, and it is rerouting the traffic to all related container images or containers. If something happened to the one container, it will find out the second container and it will reroute the traffic to that container. So, guys, all the containers of all your VMs, all these applications can be managed with a single Kubernetes cluster. Do you understand anything, guys? It is not that simple, but do you understand, guys, something?
Can you repeat this? Can you again repeat this?
Yeah, simple, guys. Kubernetes, okay. If it's a normal application, if you have installed that in more than one VM, VM1, VM2. So, guys, how will you manage the traffic, or how will you reroute the user traffic to these VMs? For that, you have to create a load balancer. Is it correct?
Right, sir.
And by using the load balancer, by seeing the health of the VMs, sometimes VM1 will serve the request. Sometimes VM2 will serve the request. Is it correct?
Yes.
For that, you will be having a front-end IP. By using that IP, you are able to get the application from these VMs. Is it correct, guys?
Yes.
In the same way, the same work. It is not only that work. There are a lot of other works also. But for now, I can't explain everything here. So for now, just observe here. Kubernetes cluster is nothing but it can manage or orchestrate. That means creation of container images and deployment of the container images and load balancing of the container images. All the container images can be done by using one Kubernetes cluster. And guys, if some application is there running on one container, And the same application, there are some 4 to 5 other containers also. Depending upon the health of those containers, the Kubernetes cluster can take a decision to which container image should process the user request. So the load balancing service can also be done by the Kubernetes cluster. Here, there is no need for you to create another load balance for all the containers. Kubernetes cluster itself will do that work. So creating of the containers, deploying of the containers on the worker nodes or machines, and managing are nothing but load balancing on all these containers. That means whatever work is there with that container, that will be taken care by the Kubernetes cluster, guys. For example, guys, if you observe these steps, if someone asks you to create one application, there are 3 applications, guys. You want to deploy it on some 10 VMs, and you want to create some 30 containers for init. And if they want you to create a load balancer, if you're not using Kubernetes, guys, what will happen? It will nearly take 10 to 20 hours of your time. And there will be a lot of cost will also be applied when you try to deploy this scenario in your cloud. So guys, all that particular thing has now gone with the help of the Kubernetes. Now guys, if you don't understand, don't worry. Let us actually deploy this application, guys. Let me deploy this application. Then guys, this application will have 2 things, guys. The Docker images will come into this picture, and the Kubernetes will also will come into the picture. So let us try to do it. And once you have any doubt, you can ask later. Is it okay, guys? I know it is.
Now, one doubt I have actually. Venkat, actually, I wanted to know if I want to route the traffic using Docker.
Using?
Can we route the traffic between the 2 VMs or many VMs or within the VMs?
Within the VMs. You can route the traffic in between 2 VMs or within the VM also. Because the same VM will have more than one.
I am asking that question actually because if one VM is down, then traffic should be routed to the others.
Yes.
So I'm asking that question.
Yeah. Now is it on? Okay. Do you understand now?
Yeah.
Now guys, let us try to install one application. Let me show that application. There is one sample application, guys. It is there. This is the project. Actually, guys, it's a Python project. This is my project, guys. And this project, let us do one thing. This is the source code of your application, guys. For example, this app.py is a source code. It's a Python application. Let's do one thing. Let me first create a Docker image for it. Then what will we do? We will deploy that by using the Kubernetes cluster. How to do that? Let me explain that. Very simple, guys. So go to your project, guys, where you are having your source code. So this is my source code. So what I have just done, I am there in the particular Docker folder, guys. And if you observe here, if there is a project, guys, if you want to create any Docker image for that, it should contain a file called Docker file, guys. This is known as a Docker file. What is the use of this Docker file, guys? Whatever the steps which you write in this file, that will be executed by the Docker registry, and it will actually deploy the application. For example, guys, if you see here, this Docker file it is actually installing some packages which will be helpful in running the application. If guys, is it may be an app service or is it may be a virtual machine, anything, guys, without having the application packages, you can't run it. Is it correct? If you observe .NET, you have to install .NET Restore. Why you are installing .NET Restore? Can anyone tell me? Why you are installing .NET Restore?
That is a runtime, sir. Without that application.
Yeah, it will actually copy all the related packages, which will help the servers in building the code or running the code. If you don't install that, what will happen? The server cannot identify the application. Is it correct, guys? Do you remember, guys? When we have created the pipeline for the .NET, first step was .NET Restore, then .NET Build, then .NET Publish. Is it correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, here also, this command, what it is doing, it is running the APK, which will actually use it to run. Actually, guys, you are installing Python packages on that machine where you are doing that. Next, after you install Python, you have to install different Python models needed to run that application. This step is doing that. And after that, guys, what you are doing, you are copying all the files to one particular location, and after that, what you're doing, this will copy the files and it will build applications. And at the end, what you're doing, you are exposing one port. You know, guys, when you install one application, there is a default port for it. Is it correct? If it is 80 or 8080, you have seen. If it is React, it is 3000. Do you see this, guys? Do you remember? So each application will have one port. So here, guys, I'm exposing 5000 ports so that this application can actually deployed by using this port. So, guys, if you observe here, the Docker file, we have all related steps which are needed by the Docker registry. And Docker registry, what will it do? It will install it will run each and every step which has been written in the Docker file. So, guys, there may be, this is a Python Docker file, guys. If you observe, if you go back to other projects, you can see there is a project. Where is it here? This is a Docker file for the React application. You can see npm. You know, npm means React. In the same way, guys, if it is .NET, there is another Docker file. So each programming language will have its own Docker file. And when you use the Docker to create the image, it will actually run all the steps which are written in the Docker file. So, guys, it is the project code must contain a file called Docker file. Without having the Docker file, you cannot create Docker containers or Docker images. Is it clear or not?